Well, if we didn't already know how big a fight this was, we've got the one and only Radio Rahim all the way from the States to cover this fight for his fans. How you doing, mate?
I'm always great when I get to London. This is my favorite second home. So I'm glad you keep having big fights here, so I've got an excuse to come over and somebody to pay for it.
Well, you've got a few of your own coming up in the next few months, but this is a big fight. Is it being received well in America?
You know, this fight I think will be the one that makes Joshua Klitschko the fight that will mark when Americans became Joshua fans. Not that I'm even saying that he has to win this fight to win American fans, but I know his work ethic and the way he's going to pursue this win and this championship, that American fans will be seeing him for the first time and really recognizing what kind of potential he has. And if he's victorious, of course, he'll be a rival for what they consider to be the heavyweight championship for real, which is Deontay Wilder's strap. You know, the WBC green belt, especially in America, is thought of as, you know, the gold standard. So yeah, I think this fight is the one that puts the heavyweight division back on the global map. Here, you guys have been excited. You guys have been behind Joshua for quite a while.
And we've got Fury.
And Fury. You know, I've found people don't like Fury. Not even before all the ridiculousness, he wasn't received well. So Josh was like, you know, the golden boy, and they love him here, but they're just learning about him in the States. And this fight is going to be like his big coming out party.
You talk about him being on the world stage and America waking up to seeing what he's all about. It's the third time it's actually being shown on HBO and Showtime, so it sort of shows the magnitude of how they deem this fight as well.
I think it shows the magnitude of the pettiness of our networks in America.
Fair enough.
Hopefully, this fight will be the best of the three that have been split that way. This fight, I think, has a potential to be more exciting than any other Klitschko fight ever. Hopefully, because of his motivation to redeem himself, even if in his own eyes. I think he's more motivated this time to perform better and knows that this is a serious undertaking that he's stepping in the ring. This is either the finish for him or a glorious return, right? And not even
almost Ali-esque.
Right, yeah, right. I mean, not even a stoic Klitschko could miss the fervor of this moment, the electricity that's going to be at Wembley.
Yeah, I mean, there's no bigger reward than becoming three-time world champion again.
He's in
an elite list there if he does.
And he can call Fury a fluke for real then, you know, which I wouldn't necessarily disagree. I'm no big Fury fan.
We wanted to ask you on that. Do you believe it was just a bad day in the office, or, you know, could this be towards the end of, you know, could it be a little past his time? I mean, everyone is wanting to know what that fight was all about.
I can't steal the victory from Fury that way, and that, oh, it's just a bad day at the office for Klitschko. I think a lot of things collided at once. Klitschko was going through the motions, had become used to the same old drill, not having to put in so much work to get the victory, the same 1-2, long jab, big right hand, hug, step back, Boris to sleep, and eventually his opponent falls asleep too. That's been the routine.
And they couldn't slow the ring down. Remember, they had all that foam in the ring.
Well, I mean, I don't think you could slow down a Klitschko fight no matter what. Does it get any slower than that?
I think they were trying to slow Fury down. It would have been like him fighting in sand.
Yeah.
You know, quicksand.
And to that point, a guy coming in that's usually punching down and knocking smaller guys in the head for 10 years, and then you meet a guy who's about your size, which we're going to see Saturday night, two guys who are huge and used to being bigger than their opponents, looking eye to eye, starting to punch up, punch eye level. Sometimes that's enough to change the game and frustrate you. Fury came in with the perfect game plan. I mean, he knew how to engage Klitschko.
Do you think it did kind of, you know, with the whole ring and then there was issues with the gloves beforehand as well?
I just think
do you think it did make a big difference?
I think they totally underestimated Fury, and I think Fury definitely got under Klitschko's skin. You could tell he was rattled by him 100%. Because, as Rahim said, most fighters were already scared before they got in there. He had that invincibility about him, although he knew there were some vulnerabilities. But those seem to be, you know, what did he go on, 11-year streak? You know, 22-fight streak or something. I mean, you know, the guy looked pretty unbeaten, and most experts in this country felt that Fury was going to get blown away because they think he was rubbish. But he moves very well. He's awkward. He's game. He has no fear. He has no, he has no quit in him.
He knows how to frustrate an opponent, not mentally and physically. Yes. That's really his whole card. You know, I don't think he's a proficient fighter. He's not. He's definitely not going to be moving around in boxing.
Gifted, like, you know, like a Joshua or a Klitschko. There's no real technique there. He's just very good at what he does, and he's a great spoiler.
Well, we want to know roughly where do you think this fight is going? What's your ultimate prediction, I guess?
I think this fight is going to be the biggest test Joshua's ever had, and if I predict correctly, the mentality that Klitschko comes in with, it's going to be a war people haven't expected. When I hear people discuss the fight, even in America, people who are familiar with Joshua already, and obviously everybody knows Klitschko by now, they think Joshua's just going to wash him. You know,
really?
Yeah, he's young, he's athletic, he's exciting, he's been knocking guys out. He hasn't gone past what is like the 8th round. So they think that that's enough, but what we know about boxing is experience matters. We know that you can set traps for a guy. We know that when you've been going 12 rounds your whole career, when you've seen all different kinds of styles, when you've been in there for as long as Klitschko has, a young fighter sometimes can be overwhelmed by the experience and the ability to move the fight in your direction stylistically in a way that Joshua hasn't seen before. So he's definitely the better athlete. This is a young man's game, but I think Klitschko's savvy, and he comes in with the motivation to really pull out every tool he's got in the shed, and we're looking at a war.
Do you think pressure is going to play a massive part in terms of, you've got Joshua going in there as the champion. For the first time in Klitschko's career, he's going in as the challenger. But then obviously you have Joshua walking in effectively home advantage, 90,000 fans screaming his name. And then you've got Klitschko walking in what's known as the Lion's Den. So there's different levels of pressure. But like I said, Klitschko's never really been the challenger. He's got nothing to lose.
Does he think he's the challenger, though?
True.
I think Klitschko was walking in there like a guy is sitting on the throne in his castle.
Yeah.
He's going to come in to reclaim what's rightfully his in his mind. He didn't get the rematch with Fury he feels he deserves and did. Joshua, in the vacuum, has gotten 2 titles and is fighting for these vacant titles. So now that these titles are vacant, Klitschko has not gotten the rematch. I truly believe he walks in there with a champion's mentality. And I'm not sure that the entire crowd at Wembley is going to be pro-Joshua. Klitschko's been around a long time. We're not that far from Eastern Europe hubs. You know, this could be
that's a section of them.
Let's go. I expect
big arenas in Germany.
So a back and forth shout down. Yeah. So
it's exciting.
I think it's the old lion and the young lion. And is it time for a changing of the guard? And if it is, unfortunately, for Klitschko's sake, I think that makes a great changing of the guard for boxing. It's time for the heavyweight division to come back to life. And Joshua can do that.
It'd be lovely to have a lovely, clean athlete like Joshua. Everybody looks up to him. He lives his life right. He's generous. You know, he's really switched his life around, which we've seen recently in certain little videos where he went and bought his first boxing trainer a brand new car, and you could say it was done out of his own heart, not to show off or anything like that. You can tell he's a class human being, and it's
actually nice to see
nice for the game.
Both of them actually. There's been huge respect shown, which is rare in fights leading up to fights nowadays.
It didn't need hyping. It was sold out so quick. I mean, that must be quite fascinating in America as well, because I know you get that kind of gate for your American football matches, but for a boxing, a gate of we had 80,000 with Fox Groves, and that's been trumped 90,000. It's just madness.
You guys kill the game. Like,
well,
that's a good thing. When I say kill the game, it's kill it in the right way. As you should. No, kudos on that. Like, I wish American fans were engaged like British fans, Irish fans, even the Scottish. Like, they come in, they watch the undercard fights, low card, even when the card's, it means something to them to be here for the fights, regardless to who the names are in the ring. To them, the sport has a certain reverence, and they show up. And it's a night of boxing. It's not just, we're gonna go see Klitschko, Joshua, and put on our fancy duds and show up right as the first bell of the main event occurs. And that's like a really Hollywood American attitude. Whereas here, the fight's right there in their belly, and they can't wait to get to the arena. You guys definitely lead in that feel. Like you guys really are the spirit of boxing.
A lot of young fighters as well, they rely on selling tickets. They get big fan base early on. I mean, I go to a lot of small shows, and you'll get some lad sells 300, 400, 500 tickets, and once he starts to get that following, it just seems to escalate. And very early in their career, way before championship fights, they're selling sort of 1,000-2,000 tickets, and I think that's what we rely on more in this country, especially with small shows to finance them. So in America, I think it's more of sort of a pay-per-view type industry and a more commercial to try and just get the numbers.
We need it in the bloodstream. I hope that this thing is infectious.
Yeah.
I really like that American fighters are coming over here to challenge for championships, to put their titles on the line. Obviously, UK fighters are game.
Yeah.
That rivalry, but also the willingness to work together and make big fights when they need to be made is going to be the best thing the sport of boxing has ever seen.
Wilder, Joshua, and Vegas would be amazing.
I was just about to say a certain American fighter will be having a very close eye on this, Mr. Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, he had a press conference, or at least a conference call about this fight.
And what's he make of it all? Obviously, he's...
I don't know. I didn't call in. It seemed ridiculous.
I think he was chasing Parker, wasn't he? Because obviously Hughie Fury pulled out of the Joseph Parker fight, so he said, "I'll step in and I'll fight you for the, so they can unify two of the straps, I suppose."
Right.
It's a mouth-watering prospect, him against either fighter, really.
Yeah, and then we can get this unification happening, in one fight instead of three.
Yeah.
Look, there is nothing more important to the sport than the heavyweight championship, and it's been dormant in the sense that that crown jewel has not been held by a charismatic guy that has global appeal and fights exciting. So it's not taking anything away from Klitschko personally, but just what's good for the sport and what's entertaining for the fans. We needed a heavyweight champion that really carries the crown in a way that brings people to the sport. Joshua can do that. Yeah. For that reason, I say his win is better for the fights.
I mean, does he have that poster boy-esque?
They don't know him like that yet, and
why is that though?
Because we're Americans and he's not, and that makes a difference. Like, we want an American heavyweight champion. We've got Deontay Wilder carrying that mantle, and the thrashing of these two in the ring together, the Brit. And yeah, you're right. It probably will be in Vegas, which is what I mean. It bleeds back. We come over here, make these fights, and then you come over and make the super huge fights. One thing I have to say, regardless of where the fan base is, you still got to make it in America. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you can climb that ladder here, you can build your throne, you can get your following, get everybody to pack Wembley in 90 minutes. But to be recognized as the world heavyweight champion, you got to come to America.
Ricky and Floyd Mayweather, what a weekend that was in Vegas. I mean, that just shows you how important it is to make that crossover. And Ricky's one of the few fighters that did that in America. They were fascinated. I mean, Vegas was just sold out with people from Manchester. It was an insane weekend. Yeah,
the only rival that UK fans have are Mexican fans. The atmosphere at Hatton Mayweather could only be rivaled by the atmosphere at Marquez Pacquiao 4. Yeah. Those fans, in both cases, were so excited, so the electricity in that building
on the TV as well.
was
very
insane.
Rare. You get that where it sort of literally transfers through your screen, but it did on that occasion. It was amazing.
The roof almost came off when Pacquiao was knocked out. I can't even imagine if Hatton had somehow pulled that off, what would have happened.
It would have been immense.
Finally, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Prediction, come this weekend.
I got Joshua late and a very taxing fight. I think that, like I say, this is a young man's game, and he's gonna have to figure some things out early. But ultimately, he's gonna wear on Klitschko, and that age will come into play. Klitschko's feet will get a little slow, that jab will get a little lazy. Joshua steps around it and starts to beat him up, and it'll probably stop him that way. If not, it'll be a unanimous decision.
Great. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting to us. Enjoy your time in London.
Thank you. I've got to go stretch now. Boxing yoga calls.
Boxing yoga in Tottenham.
See, I'm game for any aspect of this sport. If there's boxing in the title, I'm going to do it at least
Can you come
once.
back and tell us how you get on, please?
If I can come back. These guys won't have to carry me. It's my first yoga session ever.
Saturday or
Guys, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
I really love chatting with you. I've learned a bit, and I'll see you Saturday night.
Definitely. Look forward to it.